This Sunday on Press Pass, Phase 1 of the ceasefire plan between Israel and Hamas is underway. Under the plan, Hamas will release all 20 living hostages sometime in the next day, while the Israel military begins withdrawing from the majority of Gaza. Uncertainty remains about some aspects of President Donald Trump's proposed plan to pause the fighting, such as whether Hamas will disarm and who will govern Gaza. President Trump is set to travel to Israel tomorrow. So here with more on more as this plan unfolds, retired U.S. Marine Colonel Brian Kennedy. Brian, thank you for coming in.
Leslie, good morning.
Good morning. So, of course, this is not the first time this conflict has seen a ceasefire agreement, but does it seem like this could be the first step to a long-term peace deal?
Well, we're having this conversation in 2025. We could have also had this conversation in 1947, in 1978, in 2000, and then let's jump forward to your question in 2025. Peace only lasts as long as they're not fighting. And that sounds like a tongue-in-cheek sort of answer, but really any peace deal that comes about is tenuous at best, and it's only as good as the paper that it's written on and the earnest will of those that sign it. In essence, I am not confident that this peace will last.
Now, in this latest agreement, what factors do you think made it possible for both sides to call off the fighting?
Well, I think largely, let's be really frank here. I think largely it's the fact that the Israeli Prime Minister nominated our president, President Donald Trump, for the Nobel Peace Prize. I think that's one bargaining chip that's in the deal. I also think that Israel has achieved most of its military objectives in Gaza. And I also think that Hamas is mostly wiped out with regards to their ability to conduct military or quasi-military operations. So in a large sense, the timing was right for them to all come to the table and broker a deal.
Now, the situation of the future of Hamas and the governance of Gaza is, of course, still up in the air. Could this reignite this conflict all over again, depending on how it plays out?
Well, the Israelis left the Gaza Strip altogether in any type of governance. They left, they pulled back, and they essentially isolated Gaza and let them have self-determination and self-governance. That birthed Hamas. And in essence, what they got was they got all the humanitarian aid that was given to the Palestinians was given ultimately towards building tunnels, building rockets, buying rockets, and things of that nature. So really that's the biggest question in this whole deal is who is going to govern Gaza and who is going to make sure that one, the people that live there are safe, fed, and have a normal life, and then also to make sure that they don't get militarized based on how it was done in precedent in 2005.
And, as this continues to move forward, I'm curious, what role do you think the U.S. will play? Will we continue to be involved in any way?
Well, I think what we're going to continue to do is try to broker that deal and keep both sides, eyes on, a peaceful solution that lasts. And again, it only lasts as long as the earnest will is there from all sides to not violate it.
And I want to switch gears just a little bit. The National Guard troops, they've been deployed to places like Chicago, despite some objections from many of the leaders. Is that work outside of their usual duties?
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely. The National Guard is the home team. The federal forces or the active duty, Marine Corps, Navy, Army, Air Force, that's the away team. Oftentimes we have the National Guard deploy overseas. There's a mechanism to do that. And oftentimes we have federal forces, active duty forces, do work here in the continental United States in support of the home team. We have mechanisms to do that. Deploying National Guard forces without the state's authorization or the state's request, or states like Ohio sending their National Guard to the District of Columbia at the president's behest is 100% illegal. The question then becomes really is if something illegal is being done, what do we do about it? And who do we expect it to be done by? The judicial branch? That takes time. Or the legislative branch? Or is it the people? How do we do this if we don't agree with what's being done with regards to our military deployments?
And so I also want to touch on the Insurrection Act. Now, there's been reports on discussions in the White House about using it. Do you think that would be good use of our military here within the country?
No, not at all.
Why so?
The Insurrection Act was given when Bedlam and violence has broken out in a location. The last time that I recall, I'm sure there was one after this, but was during the Rodney King riots in Los Angeles. And one of the reasons why I think it was used is largely for the simple fact is that we had federal forces stationed at Camp Pendleton, California, and U.S. Marines were sent, amongst other entities were sent. But the Insurrection Act is really the question, and the essence to that is who defines when there is mayhem? Who defines when there's an insurrection? Is the president, and the president by himself, the only one that says whether or not it's an insurrection, or does some other entity have to say this is a problem that I cannot handle on my own, and I need the federal government and the federal government's troops' assistance in this matter?
All right, a lot of things to watch out for moving forward. All right, Brian Kennedy, thank you again for coming in.
Great to see you, Leslie.
Appreciate it. WFMJ Weekend Today will be right back with more local news.